U.S. Weekly, a show that is dedicated to covering United Women's Soccer, a national pro-am league with your host, Jonathan Ward. Each and every week, we will highlight players, supporters, and staff of the clubs we all pride ourselves to support in North America. The UWS is a league that is committed to advancing women's soccer. All right, welcome back to Podcast Row here at the United Soccer Coaches Convention, live from Kansas City. I'm John Ward with UWS, and I'm proud to be joined today by Dr. Ann Murphy, who has a youth project here in Kansas City called Youth R.I.S.E. And thank you so much for taking the time to join me today. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
How's everything going for you this week? Lots to take in, I assume.
Yeah, lots to take in. I think it'll be a good week.
So, Murph, you've obviously been in the Kansas City area for quite a long time. Give us a little background about soccer and you and kind of your work beforehand of the Youth R.I.S.E. project.
So I actually grew up in St. Louis and played through, youth soccer, high school, played at St. Louis University, and then transferred and played at Missouri Valley College. Upon graduating from college, I joined the police department here in Kansas City. And, I got, after the academy, I got stationed out at East Patrol, which is the area where Youth R.I.S.E. is founded in Northeast Kansas City. And I wasn't really playing then, besides like rec leagues as an adult.
Right.
And then in 2011, in the winter, I had one of my friends that I graduated college, played soccer with. She was a public school teacher, and she woke me up and asked if I wanted to help her coach a soccer team with 8 kids that were about to be expelled from school.
Okay.
And I said, why not? No idea. I didn't know how to coach. We didn't have, all the licensing. We just said, why not? And we practiced in the cafeteria and put tape on the ground and did the little speed ladder stuff that we remember growing up. And after a couple of weeks, we decided, we probably should get a coaching license and figure out what we're going to do. Because these kids, they were so good, just individually talented, but they never played organized soccer. So teaching the concept of offsides and possession and passing and getting wide, we just need a little bit of a game plan to actually teach that with the kids that grew up in the streets playing, on concrete and never having a referee to tell them they're doing something wrong.
So tell me a little bit about the program. Obviously in Kansas City, there are a lot of similar style programs out there for the youth, but what is the difference with Youth R.I.S.E. and how it works?
So the difference between Youth R.I.S.E. and most of the other programs is that we don't follow the pay-to-play policy. So we are 100%, the kids play soccer for free, and we are 100% inclusive. So when we founded the organization, my main thing was we're not going to discriminate on income, socioeconomic status, and that goes both ways. Someone might have a lot of money, someone might have zero money, and no matter what, the kids are not going to pay. If the parents have money, they need to spend that money for their kids and spending time with their kids, not just working their whole life so that their kids can play soccer and they're never in their life. Most of our kids, not all of our kids, are from the inner city urban community. We represent 29 nationalities. Most of them are refugees, or they might be first generation kids from immigrant families from Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador. Honduras is a big one here. And being able to mesh all of them together was a process, but when they come together, that passion for soccer is what really really drives them. Our kids, in exchange for the soccer and the travel tournaments and we're playing Division I in Heartland. We play that top level.
Yeah.
They have to keep a 2.5 GPA in school. They can't have any Fs. I do their grade checks quarterly. We had to stratify, I guess, the grade checks because it was a little extreme. Just at the first time a kid's in a program, they fail, they
Right.
can't play. So we give them a warning they're on probation. They go to mandatory tutoring with us, and then the second one they miss their first game, and then third they're not traveling. It seems to work out.
So Murph, how does I got to ask this question because I think it's really important to think about you as a servant of the public, being a police officer. How is this gratifying, or how does this really work with you? Because I know there's this stigmatism at times. How are you helping the situation? How does it work?
So the being a police officer, the kids know I'm a police officer, and I think it teaches them to ask. It's okay to ask for help. It humanizes our profession, and they see me as a mother figure most of the time. Some call me mom. I'm their second mom. I'm always that person that when they need something, they can't ask anyone.
Yeah.
It's okay to ask me, and there's absolutely zero judgment. So I think it bridges that gap of trust between the community and the police department. And no matter what experiences these kids have or they've seen, they know that that's not every police officer because I'm that one factor that they know isn't going to happen. When we had the protests here in Kansas City after George Floyd's death, a lot of my kids, I mean, they were upset with what they were seeing on TV, but they wanted to go out and like march for the police department because they know me and they were so protective of what was going on. And we talk through it and it lets them understand the program a little better.
And at that time, did you see that it may have helped the program a little bit, knowing that you were backing it, and the students and the players, the athletes were backing it as well?
Becky.
So the play, obviously, them being a part of it, and did you see kind of an uptick in their behaviors, maybe the way they performed or worked with you and the program?
After the protest?
So during the protest, when all this is going on,
Um, I don't know with like performance on the soccer field. I mean, it was a hard time for everyone during that time. But I think it helped them being in the program helped them because they had a sound wall. So if we talk to them and they've seen and we have experienced racism and sexism in the local leagues here, even travel across the country in different tournaments from other parents. And our kids experience racism a lot, so it's a subject that we talk about with them, and it's okay for them to talk about. So I think it gave them the sounding wall and a safe place to talk about without judgment.
so let's talk a little bit about the program in general. Obviously, is run with volunteers. How many people are supporting the cause, and how is it able to sustain?
Yeah, so we're 100% volunteer, even myself. There's a volunteer crisis right now, so we actually are having a hard time with getting volunteers. Not really coaching. We have a lot of volunteer coaches. I got about 5 that kind of supplement. We work as a team with every team. Every coach is involved. But like drivers getting the kids to and from games is a big issue with volunteers right now. Just the economy and the potholes all over the city. They all want to flatten their tires. And like tutors, we're short on tutors right now with travel and Christmas and COVID and the technology that the kids experience. Some of them don't have internet, some of them don't even have phones. So you can't do that online tutoring. They're already failing online school. So it says they need that one-on-one. So it truly takes heroes to volunteer for us, but it is how we stay afloat.
And how many students or athletes does the program work with at this time?
Right now, kids in high school, we have around 66 to 70 actively in the program. We are over 200 participants now, like counting our graduates, and then we got about 20 something graduates in college that are still needing a little bit of help to transition to adulthood.
And how is it funded? Obviously, there's GoFundMe, there's other ways to go about things, but how is it funded in case somebody watching this says, hey, I really want to give to the cause?
Right now, most of our funding comes from in-kind donations from our soccer community, just giving them the kids different opportunities to compete in leagues or compete in tournaments. And then our other donations just come from like the Sporting Victory Project donated, Shields. We did an online thing and voted.
Awesome.
We got some donations, so it's basically private donors right now. If anyone is a grant writer, I could really use a volunteer grant writer.
There you go. You heard it here. Grant writing for Youth R.I.S.E here in Kansas City. And how can people find out more about this program?
So you can go to our website at www.youthrisekc.com. We have a Facebook page, Instagram, and we also have Twitter under Youth Rise KC.
Awesome. Well, hey, check out Youth R.I.S.E here in Kansas City. A great program with great opportunities for youth development in the sport, but also to help them fall in love with the game. We hope that you guys got some information. And how often does the program run, Murph?
We run year round. In the summers, most of our kids transition. We have a partnership with Sunflower State, so they transition there, and some of our girls transition to Courage.
So with the two UWS clubs, the Courage and Sunflower State, you have a good relationship.
The boys go to Sunflower State.
So the boys go to Sunflower, and the girls go to Courage?
Yep.
That's awesome. Well, Murph, thank you so much for taking the time. I know it's a packed day for you.
Yeah.
You've got some sessions to attend. Thank you for taking the time to join me today. I really appreciate it.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's time for a dedicated women's league to fill the gap between college and professional soccer. A league that's committed to advancing women's soccer, focusing on the development of the female soccer player during the summer months, elevating the competition to help each player reach that next level, providing high-level soccer for collegiate players, aspiring and former professionals, and international stars. Operating with professional standards because players and fans deserve an exceptional experience. Uniting players that inspire and are inspired. We are passionately growing the women's game. The future is bright for United Women's Soccer. It's time. Be part of the movement.
Season.